Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. President Biden, yep, that's President Biden. He is in the hot seat, folks. Inflation is at a 40-year high. Gas prices are higher than they've ever been. I mean, as far as we can remember, this is just unbelievable. The world is going absolutely bananas, and now people are accusing President Biden of being too slow to react. Welcome to this episode of Ignition Time, everyone. My name is Dr. Chhoda. This right here is some information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Welcome to our channel. Let's take a look at what people are saying about President Biden. In fact, let me show you this article on your screen from Fox Business. Biden is too slow to react to the crisis, according to Fox News contributor Joe Concha. In fact, this Fox News contributor argued that President Biden is, I quote, too slow to react to crisis, and he doesn't have the mental sharpness to perform his job as president. Now, I want you to let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree with this. I'll actually show you the comment from Varney and I'll give you my assessment. So make sure you watch this video all the way through to the end. I know that a lot of us are very anxious, a lot of us are very unhappy, and I can completely understand that this situation is putting a lot of pressure on a lot of us. So let's take a look at what Concha is saying. I'm actually going to highlight some of his comments. This is a quote from the Fox News contributor Joe Concha. He said, "Poll after poll shows that a majority of the American people, a solid majority in one case, 2/3 of the American people think that this president is too slow to react to crisis, or that he does not have the mental sharpness for the job. It is on display." And then even when Joe Biden had his fastball, how does a person come to the conclusion that if you spend trillions of more dollars on top of the trillions you've spent, that this will lower inflation and the deficit? Even a Joe Biden, a young Joe Biden, doesn't really have all that great of instincts, yet he's failed upwards to the Oval Office. Wow, let's take a look at this Fox News segment featuring the Fox News contributor Joe Concha questioning the capabilities of President Biden. Let's roll the tape and watch.
Be stuck in first or maybe in reverse. Joining me now is Joe Concha. Joe, why is President Biden's age just now becoming such a hot topic in the media?
Well, it certainly should have been in 2020 during that campaign, yeah. But I take issue with calling John Harwood a reporter, Ashley. This is, well, look, WikiLeaks showed it in 2016. He literally went to the Clinton campaign chief and asked, hey, yes, what should I ask Jeb Bush? Reporters don't do that. They don't cheer for the blue team the way John Harwood does. But to bring it back to the president, yeah, poll after poll shows that a majority of the American people, a solid majority, in one case 2/3 of the American people, think that this president is too slow to react to crises, or that he does not have the mental sharpness for the job. It is on display. And then even when Joe Biden had his fastball, Ashley, how does a person come to the conclusion that if you spend trillions of more dollars on top of the trillions you spent, that will lower inflation and the deficit? So even a Joe Biden, a young Joe Biden, doesn't really have all that great of instincts, yet he's failed upwards to the Oval Office.
Yep, that's what he said. Let me know what you think. Now, let me give you my assessment. I think that this situation we find ourselves in has been a situation that has been many, many years, many decades in the making. It's unfair to blame the entire situation on one president. But again, you know, that's what Republicans and Democrats do. I can tell you that if it was a Republican in office, the Democrats would be saying the same thing. And there's a Democrat in the office, and so Republicans and Fox News, conservative outlets, are saying this. The reason this situation is many decades in the making is, as a country, we are financially irresponsible. We spend a lot more money than we bring in. The country has been running at a deficit for many years. Then on top of that, when the pandemic hit us, we printed trillions of dollars. Remember, this was done during the Trump administration. And yes, President Biden wanted to throw more money at the problem. And some might argue that Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, there he is. What's up, Joe? He actually stood in the way of President Biden's agenda. And some may argue that he actually did a good thing, because had there been trillions of dollars more into the system, then the inflation problem could have been even worse. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that our entire country is built on checks and balances. Sometimes they don't work, as you probably know. But the point here is the situation we find ourselves in, inflation, is a direct result of loose fiscal policy, is a direct result of over 10 years of very low interest rates. It was accelerated by the pandemic, accelerated by all the stimulus money, by all the unemployment benefits. And it is in many ways the perfect storm because of the Russia-Ukraine war, which has actually raised gas prices. What is essentially a deadly combination of sky-high inflation, of a lot of job insecurities. A lot of small businesses are actually finding it hard to hire workers because of remote work is allowing workers to work remotely and be snapped up by larger companies in other states who can pay more. So in other words, this is a very complex problem. This isn't just, hey, it's Biden's fault and therefore, Biden is the reason. That's a pretty one-dimensional way to look at it. This is a very complex problem that is many years in the making because of loose financial policy, because of the fact that the pandemic hit us and we injected trillions of dollars into the economy, because of supply chain issues, also because of sky-high gas prices, a direct result of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So this is a very complex problem, many years in the making. Can the president do better? Of course. Should the president have done better? Of course. But this can be said of any president. I believe the fault here belongs to both Democrats as well as Republicans. The Republicans have always wanted to give big tax breaks to the ultra wealthy, and the Democrats have always wanted to inject the economy with a lot of money and try and make things fair for the common man. The truth, the right approach lies somewhere in between. I believe that the Democrats and the Republicans need to come together, and I hope that in 2024 we have a moderate candidate from both sides. We don't need someone who's on the extreme left or someone who's on the far right. The country moves forward when we take the best ideas from both the Republicans and the Democrats. The country does not move forward if we are constantly hating on Trump, if we're constantly criticizing President Biden and questioning his sharpness. That is not how we move forward as a country. We move forward as a country not when we speak like Joe Concha and complain and just go on non-stop on Fox News. That doesn't really help anybody. We move forward as a country when we sit across the aisle, when we get together, when we stop arguing, when we stop threatening each other, when we stop pointing fingers, when we stop claiming conspiracies, and when we come together. Because when we come together, we are unbeatable. America has proven that time and again in the past, and America will continue to do that in the future. I hope that in 2024 we have a normal candidate on both sides. We don't have a psycho on either side, because I think the country has a real risk of essentially tearing itself apart all over again, and I really don't want that to happen. So let me know whether you agree or disagree with my assessment. Let me know in the comment section below. Please comment below and let me know what you think. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. This right here again is some information about me. I'm well known on YouTube for doing these one-take videos without any editing, because I want to give you the honest truth. I want to give you the real truth about what's happening in the country, the economy, as well as our money. I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream, and I've never really questioned any of our officials. In other words, I haven't really criticized them and criticized their mental capabilities. I do question their policies, and I do question excesses on both sides, and that is what you'll find on this channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends and family about us. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Please also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.